Dave, welcome to the Freedom Pact podcast.
It's good to be with you.
So I think the most burning question on everyone's mind who's read the book is, has the Affleck empire come for you yet, legally?
You don't want to mess with a guy who possibly was juiced up for his role as Batman, probably the least impressive Batman that we've had so far. Although that's a bit of a side note. Yes, I did dedicate the book to Ben Affleck because obviously he had a lot to do with my political awakening when he got into that fight with Sam Harris and Bill Maher on Real Time a couple of years back. I have not heard directly from Affleck or the Affleck people, but I do live here in Los Angeles. And I think about it a lot, actually, that it would kind of be funny to bump into him somewhere or meet him or be introduced to him or something, because I actually would love to talk to him about what happened that night. And I wonder if he's evolved in his thinking at all, because he's seen some of the clips about it. I'm not saying he's read my book, but there were so many clips examining what he did that night and the overacting and the anger and the emotion that has become, such a part and parcel with the modern left, that it would be great to have that conversation with him. I would love to do it, but maybe dedicating the book to him eliminated that opportunity.
Yeah, you're one of the rare humans alive that have actually made an enemy with Batman. I love it. What was it about that whole Ben Affleck situation that acted as such a catalyst for your political awakening anyway?
Yeah, well, I had been thinking about a lot of the issues with the left for a couple of years. I was on the Young Turks at the time, so a lefty YouTube channel. I considered myself a progressive. I had grown up as a liberal. But suddenly, around 2015, 2016, even a little bit before that, 2014, I had started seeing something wrong with the left, which I said was my side. I mean, all the videos that I was doing at the time when I started talking about this, I kept saying, hey, we lefties, we liberals, we're the ones dropping the ball on free speech. We're canceling people. We're destroying people. We're calling everybody racists and Nazis and all of these horrible things. And it's just not true. And I think what happened that night is that when Affleck, who was very red in the face and he was really jacked and he was angry from the get-go, when he went after Maher and Sam Harris, as I mentioned in the book, I didn't even know who he was at the time. So here's this mild-mannered neuroscientist talking about meditation and mindfulness, and suddenly he's being called a racist by Batman. It was so over the top that it almost was as if I had been thinking something for a long time, but I couldn't quite break the ice. It was like all the thoughts were just under that layer of ice. And then seeing Batman screaming, "You're racist," at Bill Maher. I mean, Bill Maher, who's the biggest lefty we have, sort of in Hollywood, who's been fighting for lefty causes forever, who despises Trump. And suddenly, he's a racist, and this neuroscientist is a racist. And it was so obvious that in many ways, sometimes it takes like a really obvious punch in the face to fully crystallize what you've been thinking for a while. And that's what happened to me.
When you made that video, I think it was about a 20-minute video where you sort of deconstructed what happened that night. What sort of reaction did you face initially from the left? And did that just sort of prove your point to yourself in the way that they were acting?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I remember very vividly doing that video. I didn't have a home studio or anything. I just did that in my house at my webcam, and I just tried to take the exact video as it aired and then just interject my comments in the middle of it. I didn't edit it. I didn't cut anything out. I just said, here's what they said and here's what happened. And it was about a 20-minute video, as you said. I was still on the Young Turks at the time, obviously, and I had just started tweeting out some of these ideas a little bit more, talking about these ideas a little bit more. What happened was that video started making the rounds and catching fire. I have no idea how many views it has now, but like for whatever it was at the time, it was a nice amount of views for me. And I started seeing the comments, a lot of people agreeing with me, a lot of lefties like, yeah, Dave, you're onto something. Something's wrong with the liberals. What's happening here? But then what I didn't expect was the unbelievable amount of hate I was going to get from the lefties. That was the part that I just did not expect. I honestly thought, and maybe this was just a mistake or naivete or whatever, I honestly thought, hey, if I calmly explain, the difference between ideas and people, that of course you have to be able to criticize ideas, but you shouldn't be bigoted towards people. If I calmly explain that, by the way, the exact same way that Sam Harris was calmly explaining it, that surely these people will see that and they won't go crazy. But that was the beginning of just sort of an unending amount of hatred I started getting from lefties that actually still exists even to today, although I deal with it much better these days.
I wonder how you find on the other end of the political spectrum then. How have you found the difference between the way in which the left interact with you on your right-wing ideas and the way that the right seem to interact with you on your left-wing ideas? I think things like pro-choice, for example.
Yeah, I mean, look, I make an argument in Don't Burn This Book, a pro-choice argument. That is like the biggest no-no for conservatives. And yet I get no hate from conservatives. You know what I get? I get emails from people that say, hey, Dave, I love the book. I disagreed with you about abortion. I'd love to buy you a beer sometime and talk about it. Or when I've debated abortion with conservatives like Ben Shapiro or Glenn Beck, or I've debated the death penalty. I'm against the death penalty. I've debated the death penalty with Dennis Prager. Or when I've talked about gay marriage with any of those guys or other conservatives or even religious Christian conservatives, what I find is mutual respect, a willingness to agree to disagree. It doesn't mean you're a horrible person. And I can still break bread with those people and have become very good friends with those people. I just had Prager was here just last week for dinner. On the other side, even though I have some of those, what you are saying are traditionally liberal lefty beliefs, I also believe in public education. I'm starting to worry about that one because I'm not sure it really works in a time of Corona anymore. But what I find is with the lefties is if there are 10 things you're supposed to believe as a lefty, if you believe 9.5 of them, you're out. You're out. They want you to believe 10 out of 10. And not only that, they want you to believe it the second they believe it. So for example, gay marriage is a really good one on this. For hundreds of years in American history, 200 plus years, we did not have gay marriage, obviously. And for thousands of years of human history, most countries did not have gay marriage. But the second the progressives decided you have to have gay marriage, which by the way, I think is a just cause. I believe that equality for all people to enter whatever contract they want, as long as it's two consenting adults, I believe that's a just cause, obviously. But they went from, okay, if you don't believe it the second we believe it, you're a homophobe. Now that's really dangerous because, you know, that Barack Obama guy was not for gay marriage the first time he ran for president. Joe Biden, for 40 out of his 47 years in public office, was not for gay marriage. Hillary Clinton was not for gay marriage. So when they just turn and they say to everybody, if you don't believe something, the second we believe it, then you're a homophobe, you're a racist, you're a bigot. It's actually not what you're doing to those people. It's what you're doing to yourself that's the danger, because you've given yourself no room to ever expand your world. And I think that's in many ways why the left is so bananas right now.